I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, 5 and a horse, I'm ready for war, I'm coming for throats, to turn to a ghost, I need to know everything. Now you be surprised at the info you get is by letting them talk, so I'm letting them talk. Gotta keep quiet, maneuver in silence, to let them in, chalk up their body.
Hello and welcome to JK+1. I am not your host, PTF. He's still in London. He's really feeling himself. This looms boldly, just won again. I mean, goodness gracious. Marshall and Clay named a homebred after him, and the horse just keeps winning. So he's, Pete was, I can see him in a pub somewhere in the UK screaming, "Go on, my son," while Looms boldly won at Finger Lakes, and all these British people are asking, "Where's Finger Lakes?" But congratulations to them. Always happy to see the purple and black of 10 Strike and a horse named after our dear friend PTF. I am your host, Jonathon Kinchen, and a little fun edition. I got two guests this week. Our friends at Qatar Racing will be happy to know they've partnered with these two gentlemen on a horse. You Almost Had Me, a 2-year-old winner, stakes winner at Churchill Downs, who is back training and targeting, hopefully, fingers crossed, a midsummer appearance at Saratoga in that middle 2-year-old race. I believe it's the Adirondack. So excited for that. Thanks to our friends at Qatar Racing. Looked like they had a lot of fun at Royal Ascot last week. Speaking of Royal Ascot, I wanted to get these two guests on because they're Royal Ascot winners of the Queen Mary with Crimson Advocate, Jake Ballis of Black Type Thoroughbreds, Reagan Swinbank of Swinbank Stables. Two of my dear friends, fun guys to root for, fun guys to hang out with at the racetrack. Wanted everyone to get a chance to know a little bit more about Reagan, who's diving. He's all in. He was a partner at Black Type for a while, and now he started his own thing. We talk about his goals, his history with the game, his love for the game, his first summer at Saratoga. We talked to Jake, obviously no stranger to these airwaves, about the success that him and Maddie and Black Type have had buying horses off the track. It's crazy. Jake runs through it in this episode of the horses that they've bought off the track. If you're interested in ownership at any level, I would definitely take into strong consideration our friends at Black Type Thoroughbreds. I'm gonna hit it running here. We got a little bit over an hour with my two buddies, Reagan Swinbank and Jake Ballis. Well, one of you was smart enough to go overseas to a once in a lifetime opportunity. I guess we'll start with you. What's up, Jake?
JK, what's going on?
And then the person who wasn't smart enough to go overseas for a once in a lifetime racing opportunity, Ray, what's going on?
Hello, JK. Thanks for having us on. I'm still regretting that decision, but it's a decision that was made, and I will live with it.
We'll talk about how Crimson Advocate became a part of Swinbank Stables, Black Type Thoroughbreds. But let's dive right into it. This is fun. I'm glad that Jake and I haven't even got to talk since he's gotten back. We would normally do this at 7:30 in the morning while one of us is driving, where we would tell the story. Jake, give me the breakdown. How was the flight over? Was it comfortable? Were you mad? Did you sleep? How did it go?
The flight was great. We flew JetBlue Mint, and it's those little pods. Maddie slept 5 out of the 6.5 hours. I slept probably 2. The flight was perfect. No lines. Everything, once we got to London, everything went smooth. We had no issues at all. From the moment we left our house to the moment we touched back down in the States, it was a whirlwind of a trip, and it was a trip of a lifetime.
How was race day? Did you get a car? You stayed in London, didn't you? So did you get a car service?
Yeah.
How'd that go?
We stayed in London mainly because I didn't want to learn how to walk to a train and get on the wrong train and go to the races and get lost. We got a driver, and it was the best thing we did. Ascot was unbelievably accommodating. They gave us a parking pass right in a car lot. And for people that don't understand, car lot means parking lot. It's a more sophisticated term they use over there. And
Car park.
yeah, car park means car lot, and we use tailgating. They use the word picnics. So we went to picnics, and we walked right in, and we had a suite over there at the track, and they couldn't have been more accommodating and welcoming us to their racetrack, which is the prettiest place that I've ever been. So literally got in the car about an hour and 15 minutes due to traffic, and had some beverages, and we were the first race. So by the time we got in, we met George and all of our other partners, hung out for about an hour, went down to the paddock, and then that's when the day really started.
Could you, from where you were sitting, like, is it like a good, like, can you like see what's going on? Did you like see the wire? Were you at the wire? Were you ahead of the wire? Were you watching on a screen?
I
like,
was
how did it
just
go?
past the wire. I was just past the wire where the viewing stand. A lot of people watch it in the paddock where they have the big screen, and I should have probably done that. But I was kind of on ground level. They have stands, but it was past the wire. So and the big screen TV is not in front of us. So it's kind of at an angle. So I had no idea if we won or lost. And they're on a strict time schedule. So after the photo, it took, I don't know how many minutes, a couple minutes, but it felt like about 45 minutes. But they start escorting you to the winner's circle where take the photos and do all the celebrating. But they're escorting both parties because they didn't know who won or who lost. So we're walking down this tunnel, and I have no idea. And I have my phone in my hand, and my phone starts ringing. And right then I knew we'd won, because nobody in their right mind would call and just say, man, that sucked. You got nosed out in the most prestigious 2-year-old race in the world. So my phone started ringing, and I was like, wow. And then you heard, and I guess people in America they were calling because they saw the bob. So it was right before they announced it. So, and then you heard the crowd, or they say winner was number 9, and then you just heard the whole crowd erupt. It was a feeling like I've never experienced.
Reagan, where were you at when you watched the race? You were traveling, right?
Yeah, I was in Colorado, Telluride, Colorado, which was a wonderful place to be compared to Houston, Texas, during the summer. But I was there with my parents and my kids, and watch it on TV. And it was pretty hard to tell who won, Jake, even on TV. But the Bob photo came out. I felt pretty good, but didn't want to jinx anything. We've lost so many Bobs over the years. And the announcer, you could hear it. And I actually ran up to the TV to get right by the speaker, like that affected anything. And I could hear the track announcer over the studio analyst say, winner number 9. And then we all went crazy. And it was pretty awesome.
Well, it's funny because like they did a graphic that they don't normally do. My bad, Jake. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
No, they do a graphic on the NBC or whatever. NBC like basically takes the feed from ITV. I think ITV does a graphic where they put up the 2 horses that are in the photo with a camera icon next to it, but they put the 9 on top. So I was on the phone with Sean Borman. He goes, "Oh, they put the 9 on top." I was like, "I don't know, man. I think that just might be a graphic that they use to let you know those 2 horses are in the photo, and it wasn't official yet." But we had so many angles that you could kind of tell. I thought you had won, and it's funny too because like you were behind, you got the bob, right? Sometimes it's the other way.
Yeah, I mean, it was that other horse led for one jump, for one bob in the entire race, and then led right afterwards. And we, as Reagan just said, we've been on the other side, the wrong side of those bobs, in a grade 1 with Paso Champagne and a couple other horses. And so I don't think that we're going to be allowed to ever complain being on the wrong side of a bob for a very long time. That winning that bob just meant the absolute world to us.
In the winner's circle, talk to me. Look, I've been with you. I was with you at Churchill when you won the stake, and you go up to the champagne room, and you get to kind of hang out in there and stuff. Like what was it like at Ascot after you won?
It was incredible that this lady who works for them came up to me and said, "I need 6 people. Give me the 6 owners to go on stage to accept the trophy." Well, we had more than 6 people, 6 owners with us. So now I'm put on the spot, and I'm trying to hug and cheer and celebrate, but now I got to think, all right, who's, who owns this part? So I picked 6 people and we go up there, and there's a great photo that I'll send you. And it's of me holding my phone with Johnny, and I'm FaceTiming Reagan, and I'm laughing. Johnny has 2 thumbs up, and you can see my phone. You can't see Reagan's face because it's the wrong angle, but it's a me FaceTiming Reagan while we're in the winner's circle accepting a trophy. And then they take you to the winners connections room where everybody's there, and they have champagne, and they're just, I mean, you can't, your glass is half full and they're pouring you another one. And but like I said, they're on a strict time schedule. So then we had to be escorted out of there. And then the rest of the day was kind of a blur. I mean, I really didn't pay attention to any other race. Everywhere you went, people were buying you drinks, handing you drinks, congratulating you, sit with us. And it's just, everybody was very, very happy for you. And like, I didn't understand the magnitude of it going over there. You watch it, read about it, but until you really experience it, I can see why people go. I can see why you ship horses. And I promise you, we will try every single year to get a horse back with the right horse.
It's funny because Jake, I want to talk to Reagan. I know Reagan was pretty instrumental in kind of helping you to pull the trigger on purchasing Crimson Advocate. But before we get to that, and you're on this topic of Ascot, like let's just be honest about it, because I think it's an important part of the equation, is that you had a poor experience the first time you went. And when I talked to you, and I know Reagan talked to you, when she qualified for the race, when she won the Win in Your In race at Gulfstream, you just didn't really seem all that excited about going. And I think a lot of it had to do with the experience you had, because now you had a great experience. You said you're never going to miss it again.
Yeah, look, the first time was a horrible experience. We had a horse, Wesley, sent over there as a first-time starter in a stake. So my family and I went. No one gave us, we couldn't find out where to get our tickets. They left them somewhere. It just wasn't accommodating for us for whatever reason. And it wasn't the track's fault. So by the time we got there, they were already in the paddock. Horse doesn't run any good. Couldn't find where the suite was. It was just a complete debacle. My father was there and said, man, let's get the hell out of here. And we did. We watched one race live, and that was the end of it. And I told myself, I had no idea the lore of it, didn't care. We got a flat tire on the way out there. Everything that bad could happen happened. From the getting there to the horse running bad, who would go run a maiden in a stake at Ascot? And at the time we bought into it and thought we were going to go over there and win. So this was a completely different situation. We were confident going in. Our trainer was very confident, especially for a trainer that doesn't say a whole lot. But from the grounds to the hospitality, the food is absolutely phenomenal. To the car parks, I mean, if American racing was like Royal Ascot, we wouldn't have any issues getting people to the track. Now, I understand it's only 5 days, so there's an advantage on that standpoint. It's 5 days out of the year versus 5 days a week for us to run. But I was negative, and I talked to Reagan about it, and it was kind of like, why do we even go? It's very expensive to ship there. But with Gulfstream giving you the $25,000 stipend for the Win in Your In, that made a lot more sense. I mean, the winner's share was 80-something thousand after before you pay the trainer and the jock. So we're going to get less than 70,000 back, and it costs half that to ship a horse. So unless you really think you have a shot, financially, it doesn't make any sense unless you win. And we've created a ton of value for the filly. And everyone says it is for the experience, and it is an unbelievable experience. I mean, everybody should go once. But just on a financial level, without Gulfstream's help, I would have been more hesitant to go. And I would have been talked into it because the partners want to go. And, thankfully we did win. But if you go over there and run mid-pack, yes, great experience, but it is pretty expensive.
Reagan, how'd the deal get done? Right. I mean, let me back up a little bit further. You and Jake grew up together, high school. We'll go back even further to talk about some of the, the first horses, some of the horses. You took a break, you've been back, you're back in it. Now you're fully committed with your own stable kind of starting now. But how did this horse get done? Obviously, you have a relationship with George, with some of your other horses that you have. How did the Crimson Advocate deal get done?
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Jake and I have been buying horses for the last, well, Jake's been buying them, and I've been partnering with Black Type Thoroughbreds since he established that entity in 2019. Jake and I, like you said, been best friends since childhood, since we were in middle school. And so we've been buying horses hot and heavy for the last few years. And then this year, I decided to take kind of a step up and form my own stable, Swinbank Stables, got my own silks, got the CPA. We're doing it right, from my perspective. And so we had bought, Jake and Maddie had bought 4 2-year-olds under Black Type 10. And so I took a percentage of those. We had bought off the track the John Hancock filly. You Almost Had Me. Sent that to Brad Cox with our friends at Qatar Racing. And so we kind of were good with 2-year-olds. There's obviously they all cost money, So Jake and I had a plan. We're not going to buy any more 2-year-olds of racing age because we're good. And we are going to focus on mares and look for maybe some mares in fold in November. So we're kind of saving up some bread, for our new phase of our operation. And so it was a Friday afternoon, and I get a call from George Weaver. Normally, George Weaver does not call me. Normally, I have cocktails and then call George Weaver. And he answers, about half the time. And then we talk, I yell about stuff. And then about 2 minutes in, he goes, "Hey, I have to call you back." And then he never calls me back. And then I do the same thing most Fridays. Okay. So my phone rings on a Friday afternoon, and it's George Weaver. And he goes, "Hey, Reagan, what are you doing?" And I was actually at our country club having cocktails with a couple buddies. And so I say that. I go, "I'm on the patio at the club having cocktails." And he goes, "That's perfect. I got something I need to run by you." I said, "Okay." He goes, "We have this filly. She got third at Keeneland. Think she's really fast. She didn't get a good trip. The current owners are going to sell her. I think it's a fair price, and I really want to keep this filly. So I need some of my guys in." So I go, "Okay, have you talked to Jake?" Because normally Jake does everything. And he goes, "Yeah, he said you're not buying any more horses, so I got to call you direct." And I was about 3 cocktails in on a beautiful Friday afternoon, and he really nailed the timing. I mean, Weaver was on it. Perfect timing. So I'm like, "All right, I'll call you back in 5 minutes." So I call Jake. I go, "Hey, Weaver called me." He goes, "Yeah, I figured he would." And I said, "What do you think?" And he's like, "Dude, she's really pretty." So he sends me the pictures, sends me a video of her walking, and she's just a magnificent looking filly, chestnut, muscled out, looking great. And I'm like, "Damn." He's like, "What?" I go, "I think we got to buy into this horse." And he's like, "Yeah, I kind of think so too." So I call Weaver back. I go, "We're in for a quarter, at least if you need more," because he was in a real hurry. Like, we got to get this deal done right now. And so I go, "We're in for at least a quarter. If you need some more, it's fine, but I'd like to be at a quarter." So he goes, "Okay, thank you, blah, blah, blah." So literally 10 minutes later, Jake's like, "Deal's done. Wire the money." And I go, "Okay." So that's exactly how it went down. It went down in like 10 minutes.
And the timing of George calling Reagan was not accidental either.
He said he's looking at his watch. He said, "All right, Friday is 4:30 Texas time. Let me wait another 30 minutes. Let me wait another 30 minutes."
You don't want to wait on him. You don't want to call Monday.
Yeah, it's not hard to pattern me on most Fridays.
That's exactly what happened. I mean, we just bought You Almost Had Me, and I said, "Man, I got to call my guys again and say, look, it's very difficult buying horses privately. I mean, you got to locate one, they have to vet, they have to agree to sell. There's all different hoops, right?" So we just got You Almost Had Me, and I said, "Man, now I got to go call everyone again and say, hey, we need some more money, after You Almost Had Me." And I always explain to people, you never know when the next private horse is going to come. So you got to just keep trying. And the next thing you know is back to back. And luckily, George called me multiple times saying I had to go to the barn to look at this filly because she was at Keeneland. So I kind of first said, "I'll go do it." And then he called me while I was at the races. I forgot. So then I went to look at her, and I knew George was serious because he's never once called me to buy a horse. Not one time. It's always me sending him a replay. Hey, did you see this? You see that? Blah, blah, blah. So he called me, and I knew, and he told me before she ran at Keeneland, he said, hey, we're going to bet. And George is very good with info as far as gambling. And so I knew he really liked this horse and the filly. And when she ran third, he was disappointed. And, it just shows the confidence that I have in George that you can run third at Keeneland. And, we spent a decent amount of money to buy her. And next thing you know, we've won 2 stakes and one of the most prestigious 2-year-old races in the world.
It's one of the things I love about the team that you guys have. And you have some horses with Brad Cox. You have some horses with Michael McCarthy. The Brad Cox relationship new, the Michael McCarthy relationship not new. You have horses with George. You got you and Reagan's relationship and how far you guys go back. You've got you and Maddie is kind of the two eyes that are making the decisions. There's so many checks and balances in the group that I feel like it's led to so much success with Pass the Champagne and Secret Oath and You Almost Had Me and I think it's worked out really well,
Yeah, it has so far. We did go maybe 6 months without winning a race, but if you just go back to look to see what since 2019 we've Up in Smoke was a stake winner in grade 1 place. Pass the Champagne, grade 1 place, grade 2 winner. We bought Hidden Connection, grade 3 winner, grade 2 placed. We bought Actuator. He won a grade 3. Sacred Wish we bought this year, grade 2 place. You Almost Had Me, stake winner, and Crimson Advocate. Those have been all of our private purchases.
Did I say Secret Oath? My bad. I said Secret Oath.
Yeah.
I get those two confused.
But those have been all of our private purchases, and we bought every single one. And this is what I think is impressive. We've not bought any that are stake horses. We've bought them all after they've run first or second as a maiden. They've either broken their maiden, or they've run second, or they've run third in a maiden special weight. So I think that's we've been able, like you said, through our team, because there are, like, every race we play, I'll send to Angel Cordero and say, hey, what do you think about this horse? Other than Crimson Advocate, that's the only one I didn't do that to. But every other one, so we have Cordero that does look at race replays along with Maddie and myself, and obviously of the trainers that we've sent the horses to. And we've, like you said, the Brad Cox is news because we formed a new partnership with Qatar. But, without having Angel, George, Maddie, and Reagan behind us, without Reagan, none of this would be possible. Like he said, you have to have the money. And I've been lucky enough to be friends with Reagan, and he supported me financially through most of this with Black Type. And, we've grown Black Type to a bunch of partners. But without Reagan's support and backing, we wouldn't be here. And then you have to, because I went through times with trainers, man, you got to trust them and agents and so forth. So I do think a lot of our successes, I've failed a whole bunch, from the time we bought our first horse in 2009 through 19, we were buying stuff that didn't work. It's just 19, we started Black Type Thoroughbreds, and that's when Reagan got back involved with 2019. So in that interim, we made a lot of mistakes, and we've learned from them. And I think we have put together a very good team. And hopefully it's going to be a team that's going to, stay together going forward for the long run.
Ray, you're back in hot and heavy now, but let's go to the beginning, 2009, when you guys bought Joining the Dance. How did that go? I don't know if I've even heard this story. Did Jake call you? Did you tell Jake, hey, I'm interested? Or were you with Jake randomly? Like, how did you get involved at that point?
Yeah, it was in 2008. So we were all single and not married, and had just enough money to do something stupid like buy into a racehorse when we literally knew nothing about it. Jake, we all knew nothing. Jake knew 10% more than nothing, but the whole team knew nothing. And so Jake had gone up to Saratoga and met with Angel, who used to ride for Jake's dad, John Ballis, in the 80s. And John Ballis had some really good horses. So Jake had a little more exposure than the rest of us. And so he was talking to Angel up there, and Joining the Dance, I think got second place in a race, and Jake had told Angel to find us a horse. And so Jake was working with Rashard Lewis, the NBA player, and he was a good partner to have because he bought half the horse. And so Jake and his brother Reed and my brother Will and myself bought the other half. And I think we paid $250,000 for joining the dance, and we all put up 10%, which was a lot of money for us. And based on Jake saying, "Hey, this is fun. We're all big gamblers, anyways." I mean, we were raised watching the big races, but knew no details or anything. So it just felt like a good gamble. And so we bought joining the dance. Rashard took half. My brother, again, Reed, Will, my brother Will, Jake's brother Reed, Jake and I bought the other half and went on the experience of a lifetime. He went on to win his maiden for us at Saratoga. I think he placed or something in the Champagne. Got nosed out in the Tampa Bay Derby. Got fifth in the Bluegrass, seventh in the Kentucky Derby. It's like you can't make it up, you know. And so we had it all figured out, and we're traveling all the time. We had no family obligation, so we traveled to every race, partied up, met a ton of friends that we're still friends with now. Met a bunch of cool young guys our age at the time that you know, the Gatewood Bells, the Brett Jones, the John David, and a whole bunch of Kentucky guys, and just really fell in love with the sport through that one colt. And we learned a lot and had an incredible experience. We got into the Derby, Jake. What did the Tuesday of Derby week? I think we were like 24th on rated earnings.
We were way down on the list. Next thing you know is like deflection. And next thing you know, we're in the Derby, and I don't know how many people we brought, but I think we had 7 boxes of 6 of 42 people.
Yeah. And when we walked the horse in, I went to the back. You know, you start on the backside, and there were some guys over there with a cooler of beer. And in my half Spanish, I bought 6 beers from a cooler, and they were 24-ounce Coors Lights. You know, the big dongs. You know, and so I buy them, and and Todd Pletcher is the trainer of Join in the Dance, and we're just idiots from Texas, and so we're doing the walk-in with Join in the Dance, and all of us are carrying 24-ounce Coors Light cans in our hands, high-fiving people. And Todd turns to Jake and I, and he goes, "You have to be the first owners of any Derby horse to do the walk-in with a damn Coors Light can in your hand." And like, you know, we're celebrating, baby. You know,
we were 50 something to 1. We knew we weren't going to win, and so we were just having a lot of fun. We were 29 years old, 28 years old at the time. I mean, it was a heck of a lot of fun.
You got a little thrill, you know.
Yeah.
Turning
if
for
that race was a mile, if that race was a mile, we would have won that damn thing.
So fast forward, Reagan, because it's funny. People who know you will know that you're a passionate person about anything. You're a passionate person about, you know, going to breakfast. You're a passionate person about your businesses, your friends, your family. First and foremost, the Texas Aggies.
Yeah.
But when I look at your Twitter profile, like the first thing you mention is horses, which is funny to me because you are a perfect example the industry needs to look at as a person that got a little bit interested when they were younger, had some success, and has come back and is now committed to being a part of the game.
Yeah, no, I think by passionate, you just mean loud, right? I'm just loud about all those things, including my friends and family. But I know what you're saying there. No, I think, well, my interest came from Jake Ballis. So without Jake Ballis, I would not probably be in the horse racing game. And luckily that we are best friends from childhood, and we talk every day, whether we own horses or not, for the most part, for most of our lives. And his knowledge and passion for the horse fed into me. And I'm lucky to have Jake and Maddie and the whole team that you guys have already talked about as the experts, and I'm along for the ride. And I think the passion that Jake and Maddie have shown for this sport has taught me everything. And I like sports. I like gambling, and I like the sport of thoroughbred racehorsing. I mean, as everyone that listen to this podcast knows it's just an amazing experience, going to the tracks, meeting the people, seeing these athletes, the experiences that you get to do following a racehorse is unmatched and in life, really. I mean, you can't compare it to really almost anything. And the friends that we bring to the track, they're like, oh, I get it now. Oh, I get why all you talk about is racehorses now, because it's so unique. And so my passion came from Jake Ballis, and we're a good team. And I am lucky, this sport is not filled with genuine, honest, trustworthy people in all aspects. We all know that the bottom of this sport can be a little seedy, but with the faith and trust and love that I have in Jake and Maddie, it's being able to trust the experts and your partners goes a long way. So without that, I wouldn't be involved, but because I have that and fortunate, with my business and my family life to be able to play around with this stuff as an investment, but we all know it's a tough game. So we're trying to make money. We may not some years, but some years we are. And so I just think it's through Jake, it's allowed me to experience a whole nother experience, so it's fun and I care about it and I love it. And that's all I think about for the most part is these damn horses.
And if you weren't already all in, the one thing that will definitely lock you in forever is an extended stay in Saratoga. And you're coming up, your first month long venture is starting here in a week or so.
That's right. Yeah, we bit the bullet and rented a house. The Hampton Inn is nice, but 5 nights at the Hampton Inn gets a little crowded. So we rented a house this year for July, for most of July, then got to come back and pick up my kids from their camps and then hop back up for the big races in August. But yeah, excited to be able to experience Saratoga more than just a long weekend. Hopefully I can behave myself and not just party straight for 4 days. With the extended time, I can rein that in. Hopefully, we'll see. But
you'll have no choice.
Excited. Yeah, exactly. No, exactly. So excited to unpack and have a house and be a normal adult in Saratoga.
We're neighbors.
Yeah, that's right.
Like about two houses down.
I did rent a golf cart, by the way. So
did you?
Yep.
That's wonderful. I'm gonna hop on with you some mornings. Just come scoop me up. I'm in the cul-de-sac.
We'll have to toot over to the barn. Yell at George Weaver.
It's funny because like the summer, it's like when you visit here, I know exactly what you're talking about. When you visit for a weekend, it's like you're having so much fun. It's like that first night in Vegas when you go to Vegas and you're just so excited. You just go too hard and I've been guilty of it. Jake's been guilty of it. But then when you're here for a long period of time, like Jake has been before, you pick and choose. You actually enjoy it a little bit more because you have some just relaxed days. You have some days where you chill a little bit. You have some days where you pop up to the lake. You have some days where you only have 2 beers instead of 17. You don't feel so rushed,
Yeah, I'm excited about that. We're actually going to bring our youngest daughter who's 6. And so I have some family obligations that I don't have on the long weekend. So yeah, we're going to do the lake and hopefully hit up Lake George and go to the parks. And it's going to be awesome. I can't wait to experience it from the other side now there'll probably be a weekend in August where we go back to the old ways, but when the family's there in July, we're going to be normal adults.
Jake, do you miss, if you could logistically pull it off, that's a tricky question, right? Because what if, but if you could logistically pull it off, would you spend your entire summer in Saratoga?
Yeah, I would. I love it up there. The weather's nice. Having a 7-month-old and a 4-year-old kind of prevents us from that. The 4-year-old starts school like the first or second week of August. So, logistically, if we didn't have horses on our farm and 5 dogs, I would like to pull it off. And hopefully in the next couple of years, we'll be able to do it again where we can go for 2 weeks at a time. And like this year, I'm going to go 2 days opening weekend. I have to get back. We have a family vacation that's been planned in the middle of July. So I'll go 2 days here, and then like Reagan says, I'll just we'll go for the sale and jump around in August whenever we have something running.
Who are we thinking? Who are we thinking we're going to see this summer? Right. Let's do a little roll call here. We'll see Pass the Champagne, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, hopefully, yes. I mean, she's a grade 2 winner. We think she's better around one turn. That leaves you with the Ballerina is pretty much the only option. But you're going to have, Echo Zulu, Goodnight Olive, Society. I don't know if to date, she's not that caliber. Now, if you get a pace meltdown and so forth, yes. And they do call Saratoga the graveyard of champions. So, but there's not many options for her. Being a grade 2 winner, we're trying to get the grade 1. So you have the Clement Hirsch at Del Mar, or you have the Ballerina. And the Clement Hirsch is 2 turns, Ballerina is 1 turn. Ballerina is the only one left other than the Breeders' Cup. So I hope she does run at Saratoga. I don't know which race it would be. It'd be the Ballerina or nothing. Or we'd have to ship out of town. Opening weekend, we should have Sacred Wish running, and that Wilton Stake, hopefully going a mile. And that's the Friday of opening weekend. Crimson Advocate, I don't know yet. August 20th, there's a stake for her. We'll have to see. She left on a plane today. She gets back. So once George evaluates her, we'll come up with a plan. She deserves a little bit of time off. So I don't, the Breeders' Cup's our ultimate goal if she's sound, healthy. And so we'll work ourselves backward from there. And there's only one spot for her up there. We have a 2-year-old filly named Caress that we're pretty high on. She should run at Saratoga. Riviere made her debut last month. A couple weeks ago at Belmont, she ran a very good 4th on debut. She will run at Saratoga. I think
with those 3-year-old colts, maybe Payzone and
Payzone's running Friday. If Payzone runs Friday at Laurel, we'll see what he does there. And
that's the Maryland bred, right? Payzone.
Yeah, it's the Maryland bred. We'll have hopefully you almost had me. She's back training now. She got a shin. She's back with Brad.
So she could try to make the second 2-year-old race with her.
Yeah, the Adirondack. Yeah, that's the tentative plan is to make that race. And there's not a 2-year-old filly right now that's run as fast as she's run. So I joked with Reagan, right now we have the fastest 2-year-old dirt filly in the country, and we have the fastest 2-year-old turf filly in the world, which is, I say that jokingly, but it's actually true. It's based on
sounds pretty good.
Sounds
real good.
Pretty good publicity, right? And this is the first year that that Reagan has taken a step forward and is buying on his own and not with black type. And Sacred Wish, you almost had me, and Crimson Advocate are the first 3 he's done that with, and 2 stake winners and grade 2 winner and a grade 2 stake place is pretty good to start out since March.
Reagan, let's kind of fast forward 5 years from now. Like, what's your kind of dream goal of where Swinbank Stables is in 5 years? Like, what are you hoping to have, accomplished or be set up to do?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And like any business, and you should always think 5 years out. At all of our operating companies, once a year, we have a 5-year plan that, that gets updated. And so part of us forming Swinbank Stables with Jake involved and the accountants, and this is a real business now. And so our 5-year plan is to have some mares, quality mares, breeding. And my goal is to have a homebred winner. I was texting with Marshall Graham, one of the owners of 10 Strike Racing. They had a nice win at Finger Lakes yesterday with a horse named Looms Boldly after our friend Pete. And I was texting him congrats because, that horse ran well. And he goes, it's always more fun with a homebred. And I said, man, give me about 3 or 4 years, dude. Because I get how proud we are to win a race. It's so hard to win a race, but when you win a race with a horse that you bought off the track, knowing that they're fast, it's an amazing feeling, right? When you buy a horse at auction, it feels maybe 1% better, right? Because you picked that horse out, or you had the eye in it, and it did what you thought. And then I have to imagine having a homebred winner feels the best. And not that, winning with any horse feels amazing, but I got to think as winning with a homebred is the ultimate satisfaction, right? Because you put together the story of that horse. So my goal in 5 years is to have a few mares, breed, sell horses, stay in them, buy racer, stay involved with the racing aspect, but also have some breeding and some homebreds, and kind of be the full boutique package that I've learned a lot from guests on your podcast, JK. And after every episode, I text you. I'm like, damn, that was a good one. And I'm not just saying it because we're friends, but I've learned a lot from, guys like Saul and Mike Rapoli, and then from trainers and jockeys. I mean, there's so many levels to this business that I think from the owners that you've had on, I've listened and heard their path and what they like. And I think having well-bred fillies turn into mares and then breeding them adds another level to what I want to accomplish at Swinbank Stables. So that's the long answer.
Jake, how about you with black type? I mean, obviously you're accomplishing what you want in terms of having the success of buying horses off the racetrack, and those kind of help pay for some of the other more projected types of things with yearlings and 2-year-old and in training and stuff like that. Where's black type headed?
Hopefully we can get bigger, get more investors involved. And, if you look what happened with Reagan, he started, you take away joining the dance, but he started back getting involved with black type. And that to me is a goal, to try to get individuals that love the game, you teach them, and then they do want to go out on their own and put up more of an investment. And it allows us to partner with our own people, but they just, instead of running just black type, it's Swinbank Stables and black type. So it allows us to be able to get more horses with more equity behind us. I would love to get more partners. I hope with all of our recent success, it's going to translate into that. But it's a small market to tap into. Not everybody knows a lot about racing. And what Reagan mentioned earlier, when we do bring people, that's when people to the races, that's when people do get it. They understand, wow, this is why y'all do it. This is a lot of fun, and they'll reinvest. But I would love, 5 years from now, I don't think we need to be as big as, West Point and those guys. I mean, they got 50, 30 something horses, 2-year-olds. But I would love to have about 10 horses in training every year. And a couple of those are going to be private purchases. Couples are going to be 2-year-old sales purchases, and a couple are going to be yearling purchases. You do get more value when you can buy yearlings. It is a numbers game. You see the Rapolis and, the Starlights and all those big people, Eclipse. You do see a lot of their successes. They buy a lot of horses, and that's everybody. That's not just, I'm not singling those groups out, even 10 Strike, etc. So it is a numbers game. You have to be willing to spend money. You have to be willing, and you're going to buy a lot of bad horses, and you just hope that several of the good ones will pay for the bad ones, and you keep going. But I would hope in 5 years we have 10 or 15 horses every year in training with a couple trainers. We want to get more of a presence in Kentucky, Oaklawn, Fairgrounds circuit. We've been pretty heavy on New York, Florida, but the purse money in Kentucky is too good not to have horses here. And like you mentioned earlier, we have horses with Michael McCarthy. I would like to have a couple out there with him in California, and spread it around. And, George will always be our main guy. And just so therefore but the money in Kentucky is so good that you have to have some Kentucky breds to run on this circuit.
Jake, let's just pretend we're on an elevator, right? And it's a long elevator ride, so you have a little bit of time here. We're on an elevator, and I see you got your pullover on, you got your black type logo there, and I say to you, hey, are you involved in horse racing? I wanted to buy a horse. How much money do I need? You got to like the 98th floor. How are we doing this?
Well, again, it depends on your goal, but if, my first thing I would tell you is it's what I tell all my partners. Hey, look, I would love for you to get involved. Whatever money you give me, don't give me any money that you need. It is for fun, and it's for the experience. Can we make money and return money? Yes, we can. We've proven we've done it. We also have partnerships that we lose money on. You get 0% back. And other partnerships, we've doubled, tripled money. So I would tell you, don't give me any money that you need. I would tell you how much money, every partnership is different. The entry point to some partnerships on those micro shares are $250. Entry to ours is $25,000. So if you want to become part of Black Type, it's $25,000 per share, and get a couple of people together, and you can split it if you'd like. If you don't want to assume that much risk. And I promise one thing: you'll have the most fun you've ever had, win or lose, with our group as a whole. We bring a lot of fun people to the races. We like to have fun. We have a blast when we lose, and we have a lot more fun when we win. So it's kind of like your own, it's kind of like joining a country club in a way. It's your own elite club that, you act like an owner. You have all the amenities as an owner. You go on the backside, you go in the paddock, you go in the winner's circle. And as far as our whole group, and we have people that own a couple percent, I mean, they really do take pride in saying they own a horse, and they may only own 1%. But the main thing is don't put up money in a horse if you need the money, if it's going to change your lifestyle if we lose.
There's another way to say it, JK. Jake gets a little too negative and too factual. No, I mean, not that we're lying or anything, but he'd say, hey, man, we're going to buy a racehorse and gamble. I mean, it's the ultimate gamble. Like, have you ever played blackjack? Well, some hands you win, some hands you lose, right? Same thing in sports. But here's what we guarantee. It's going to be a great experience. We're going to try to buy the best horse and be trained by the best people. And we're going to experience some really fun stuff. And sometimes we win and a lot of times we lose, but the fun is guaranteed.
This is why I bring Reagan around.
I tell you what, it makes me remember one of the most fun moments I've had in a very long time was when we flew from Houston to Gulfstream for Paso Champagne.
Yep.
And she broke her maiden that day, and then because you guys had bought her before she had broken her maiden, she broke her maiden that day, and the day of the races was fun. That was great. We hung out. That was all good. But my favorite part was the next morning when we were all a little banged up and we were going to get breakfast, and that lady gave Reagan a big a big helping of eggs on her plate. And what'd she say to you?
Yeah, it was during kind of post-COVID, so it was the breakfast buffet at the the JW Turnberry, whatever the Marriott.
Yeah, Turnberry.
So it's a pretty nice hotel, So they have a nice breakfast spread. We are hungover bad, and so they have all this food out, and I'm a bigger guy, in spirit and size, and so she, my head's down. She's like, eggs? Yes. I go, yes, please. And she gives me like a giant dinner plate half filled with scrambled eggs. And I look up and I go, damn, girl hooked it up. And she goes, yeah, well, you big boy. I think she gave me a dozen damn eggs, man.
Oh, my God.
And then one of you idiots started with the mimosas, so we just kind of kept going.
Look, that was a necessity. It would have. Yeah. I would have thrown up on the plane if I didn't get a little hair of the dog.
Hey, the funniest thing that you told me, JK, is so past the Champaign, Windsor, Maine, I bring a bunch of buddies. It's just a guy's trip. Half the people don't know what a thoroughbred racehorse is. And we just go. So we party the night before. We show up to the track. We're race 1. It's like 11:15. We win the race. We go crazy. We're all cashing tickets. We're high-fiving. It's intense. And I turn to you, JK, and I go, what the hell do we do now? And you go, now we party. And so we did.
We sure did. We sure did. That was an
race
adventure.
Ones, Jake. Race
It
ones
was.
been good to us.
It was like Royal Ascot. It was race one.
And I gotta tell you, it kind of sucks.
Yeah, man. I wish Ascot was later. And look, I like to be able to get settled in, have some drinks, do some handicapping, and have the build up. Race 1, man, you get there early, and it kind of sets the tone for the rest of the day. Though you win race 1, and then everything else is it's just gravy. It's just so much fun afterwards. That's one positive about being race 1. But usually. The better races are the second part of the cards. When you are race
Right.
1, a lot of times that means yours isn't that good.
Yeah, I mean,
we
unless
don't
you're
know
Royal
what race
Ascot.
1 means.
Ray, not counting the Kentucky Derby, a race that you would love to win.
Well, I've never won a grade 1. So as an owner, and barely as a bettor. But yeah, I want to win a grade 1. And so wherever that falls, wherever that is, hopefully it's the Breeders' Cup this year with Crimson Advocate. But I want to win a grade 1, and I don't care where it falls. They're all special in their own right. Obviously the Derby, the Oaks. We like buying fillies, so the Oaks would be great. Any grade 1.
Jake, not counting the Derby, one race that you just would always just really love to win.
I would love to win the test. And it just means you got a really fast filly. It's very prestigious. I would love to win. For a filly race, I would love to win the test. And, as the Colt, I think I'd probably have to say to Travers, mainly because Saratoga is my favorite racetrack. It's the most prestigious 3-year-old race in Saratoga. So I would have to say the test for the fillies and Travers for Colts. I thought Reagan was going to say like the Lone Star Derby or something like that in Texas.
Lone Star Derbies, it's on the list. I just won't tell you where.
Reagan, how's that Texas bred going?
She's doing good. Her name is Baycliff. We partnered with CJ Thoroughbreds. I wanted a regional horse down in Texas. It made Jake. Jake did not want to buy it. I made him go to the sale in Dallas. He's like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "Yeah, come on, dude. Let's get one in Texas, man." So, so we did that. We partnered with CJ Thoroughbreds. They're very well known down here in Texas and Oklahoma. So, her name is Baycliff, which is the town that my bay house is in, and it's a pretty rednecky kind of salty town. So, hope this filly's pretty salty and tough, because if you're from Baycliff, you're pretty tough, But I think she's going to run in August, I think. Right, Jake?
Yeah, she got shins. She worked a couple times, got shins, and she gets back 30. She had 30 days of jogging that ended yesterday, so she's back on track now, and hopefully she'll get a race in August.
Y'all need to be more positive on my Texas bred operation too. Both you guys will kind of thumbs down on it.
No. I'm fired up. I'm ready to go. I'm behind it. I'm behind it. There's only a couple things in Texas I don't root for. I won't say what those things are, but there's only a couple of things.
I know what you're gonna say. After 5 and 7 last season, it was tough to root for him as a diehard. But we're coming back, baby. My boy Jimbo's got him fired up. Don't worry.
When was the last time you talked to Jimbo, Reagan?
He's a partner in Black Type 8. I text him, mainly text, probably once every week or so. We're pretty good buddies.
I like old Jimbo. We got a couple of good running backs Texas did. Did you see that, Reagan? Were you mad about that?
No, I don't get mad anymore. I'm too deep into the weeds on that. It's kind of hard for me to get mad anymore. I'll leave it at that.
Oh my gosh. Opening night. Did I tell you opening night? We're gonna have dinner at the house. So you're gonna be here, Jake,
Can't
for
wait.
opening night?
I'm gonna fly in opening day, Thursday.
Okay, perfect.
Um,
So don't make dinner plans that night. But you can go out Friday night. We're gonna just have it at the house.
that works for me. Yeah, I get in Thursday, and we'll go to the. Hopefully, I'll get in early enough. Go to the races and go to the barns Friday morning, barn Saturday morning. Then I'm gonna catch a flight out.
We gotta get you some stickers, Reagan, for your golf cart.
I need swag. I need some Swinbank Stables swag. That's on the list of things to do. We have a lot to do at Swinbank Stables, but swag is on the list. So we're gonna.
You really
work
do.
on
You
that.
should just get like a big sticker of your silks printed out
I
and
know.
just put it on there so everybody knows who's rolling through.
You don't want to hear. I found out yesterday through Cordero how much they're charging now for golf carts.
Yeah.
What they used to charge, Jake, back in the day?
And I paid first year I was there. I paid $950 for the entire meet, and then it got up to about $1,300, $14 for the whole meet, and that's when Mike ran it. I don't know who runs it now. But
It's more than that. It's more than that now. But we're not counting pennies here. We're going to Saratoga. We need a golf cart. It's just a big pick six ticket. That's all it is.
look, I totally agree. And if you're going to be there for weeks, you can't not have a golf cart.
No, and you're so close, Reagan. You just go down there's that street that's right by the horseshoe where Jimmy Bond's barn is, and you just go right down that street and you're on the backside.
Can't wait. Maybe stop by, have a little morning cocktail.
Yeah, hopefully a 6-year-old knows how to drive a golf cart in the afternoon.
Well, I'm not going to have her with me the whole time. I mean, my wife's coming. Surely she can watch her. She's going to be good luck though, man. We're going to win at Saratoga.
Hopefully we win a couple of Saratoga. That'd be nice.
That would be.
There's nothing
Jake,
like winning at Saratoga.
You've what White Rose?
Yeah, White Rose won with me up there, won for us up there. That was a lot of fun. She was a great filly to own.
Join the Dance won. Of course, I wasn't there. Oh, this is good about me not being there. One of the reasons I didn't go to London is I'm not real good luck when our horses run and I'm physically at the track. So after the race, after everything calms down, obviously phones are blowing up. George Weaver, I text George about how happy I am for him, and Cindy was there and his son Ben, and just the whole story was it's just you can't make it up, right? It's so awesome. So he calls me right back and he's like, "Hey man, I wish you were here," which I heard about 10,000 times from everyone. "You're an idiot, dude. You should have gone." Right. I get it. Right. But we won. So that's the key. And so Weaver's like, "Man, I wish you were here." I was like, "Man, I don't want to jinx it, And he had a great line. He goes, "Reagan, when you got the real fast ones, they outrun the jinx, baby." And I was like, "Damn, that's a good point. That's a good point." I thought that was a good line from
that was awesome. That was an underrated, underappreciated portion of that whole thing is Cindy being able to get there. And I'd said it. I don't know where I said, I don't know if I was on TV or what, but it's like, there was a question if Cindy was going to walk again and, or if she was going to be with us, let's be honest. And now she got to come over there and witness that and be a part of it. Jake, I'm sure that was pretty special to be a part of firsthand.
Just, George and I are very close. I've followed, I talk to George all the time. So just hearing what he's gone through, on a weekly basis, day-to-day basis, and then getting Cindy back to where she is now is an unbelievable accomplishment. And then for George to be able to focus on taking care of his wife and focus on the horses, it's an amazing accomplishment to George and his entire team that work with the horses every day. There's days George has to leave to take Cindy to therapy and, his assistant and the grooms and, nothing stops at the barn. So for George to be able to focus on his personal life and the horses and to get this filly and to tell me after we bought her, we're going to go to Gulfstream and then go to Royal Ascot to try to win a race, and for all that to happen with Cindy there, it's like a movie. You could not have drew it up any better. And she was so happy when that horse won. She was in the winner's circle. For George and his family, there couldn't be any better moment, I wouldn't think, of his professional career.
How was Ben? Was Ben fired up?
Yeah, Ben's great, man. He was like all of us. At first, you're kind of in disbelief. You went over there and there's a 28 horse field. I mean, you see it on TV. You don't even know what's going on, really. I mean, Dave Portnoy had a tweet, saying who, and it was actually our race, which was funny. But he was saying, how do you even know who to bet? They don't have chiclets on the TV. You don't, unless you know silks. All the saddle towels are the same. You have no idea what's going on in that race unless you kind of know the silks. But it's kind of a free for all. It seemed they split in two divisions. There's it's almost two races going on at once, and luckily we were on the near side, which had the best turf that day, and we just happened to be the fastest horse. So it literally was an experience of a lifetime. If you haven't gone to Royal Ascot, that's something every racing fan should figure out a way to get to.
Yeah, and then one thing that I'd like to add on George Weaver, and look, that we're friends with him. He trains the vast majority of our horses. We love him, but the way that he and his barn and his business and his family, what they've been through since the last year about when Cindy got hurt, it just tells you not only how good of a horseman he is, but how good of a man and father and a husband. And so we're friends with lots of trainers, but what George has done proves the caliber of person he is. And so if you're an owner, man, why would you not send him some good horses? He's proven he's been through the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, and he's managed everything perfectly from an outsider's perspective. So I just love him, and I'm so proud that he called me and said, I need you to buy into this horse. So kudos to Weaver, man.
Jake, one of the other kind of things that we kind of glossed over with this before we get out of here with this experience is that your relationship with Johnny, because it's funny, you and I kind of we kind of met, and Johnny was the topic of our first conversation. I was still kind of, I was a tournament player, but I was kind of new to being at the racetrack and meeting lots of people. And so I kind of had these brash opinions that I wanted to always kind of share with people. I don't know if it was an insecurity, but I wanted to be that I know what I'm talking about. I know this game. And I meet you and like an asshole. The first thing I say to you, basically talking about Johnny, who was your friend, dear friend. I didn't know he was your dear friend at the moment. I just knew you were cool with him a little bit. And I was like, oh, Johnny's washed up. He's 4 wide all the time. He's
scared to go up. He said he's scared to go up the rail. What Jonathon told me. And I'll never forget. I said, well, Angel's right there. Go tell him that. Angel was his agent. But look, Johnny ran second to us at Gulfstream. He was riding for Wesley. And Johnny calls Weaver that night. Says, I want to ride that horse. And so a couple of days passed, and I'm talking to George, and he said, hey, look, I spoke to Ron Anderson, and we can get DeTore for No Name Mets, and that's in the colt race for Bregman, and we can get DeTore for our race. And he says, what are your thoughts? And I said, I want Johnny. Johnny, and he says, well, Johnny going over there? I said, I don't know, but I want Johnny. I know Johnny. He's an American rider. He's going to try his hardest for us. And him and George have a long history. Johnny and I have a long history. And I want to win. I want to win a big race with Johnny. We've won races. We've won grade threes. And he's, to me, he's still riding at the top of his game. And these Twitter experts will say he's this, he's that, but I watch racing day in and day out, and the last thing Johnny is washed up. So it made the experience extra special when your friend is the jockey and you're close with his wife, and you can hug them afterwards, and you just experience a win with Johnny and he's the greatest. You say Cordero and other guys, but Johnny's a leading money earner in the history of the sport, and he's arguably top 3 rider. So to tell people we went to Royal Ascot, we were the only USA winner. We did it with our friend George, who trains the horse. We did it with Johnny. Everybody's friends and like family. So it makes it that much better when you can celebrate with your loved ones.
Yeah, that was I loved it, and I love Johnny as well, and well,
let's just be honest. You were at the time you probably got beat that day, so you were a disgruntled gambler on that day.
I think I was. I've matured since then. I've matured since then. I try not to blame the riders anymore because it's a cyclical game. The times
and you have to see them, JK.
Well, that's part of it. But
like your intro with your who was on Flo on your podcast last week.
Yeah.
You're like,
with
hey, first off, I want to say I have tweeted some things about you, but I don't mean them. Yeah.
Well, I mean, in all honesty, like I think the other part of it too, and Jake obviously learned this much earlier than I did with his relationship with Angel and his relationship with Johnny, and subsequently his relationship with those that were around them, Manny and just being around the game. Jake's been immersed in the game a lot longer than I have, so it took me a while to learn it. But when you start to know them a little bit more and you start to realize that they're people and you learn more about the game and you realize that they have families and they're risking their lives, and you watch enough races and you realize that 98% of them are giving full effort all the time, you realize, and then once you start betting a lot more, you realize there's 9 million ways for horses to get beat, and the best horse doesn't always win, and that's just the game. You really do start to appreciate that you can't blame them for your bad decisions or for your unlucky trip. Like, it's going to happen.
Yep. No, I think that's well said.
Some of my best scores I can think of in my life, I was not even right. I just got lucky that someone else got a bad trip. So it's just how it works.
Riders, they'll make mistakes, and there's no different than, Tom Brady throws an interception, had a horrible play, right? He gets to go back out there the next series. He throws a touchdown and everyone loves him. But as an owner or a bettor, and you lose a lot of money on a jockey that made a mistake, they just want to crucify him over and over and over, even though that next race he could put on a brilliant ride and win for somebody else. It just wasn't for you, right? So
right.
They're just like any other athlete, man. They make mistakes, and the best riders make the fewest mistakes, in my opinion. When people ask me who the greatest riders are, well, the best riders make the fewest mistakes.
No, I think that's the key, and it goes back to our conversation a little bit about my friendship with Jimbo Fisher. It's like, after getting to know the coaches on a personal level, man, they're trying really hard to win the games. All they care about, all they want to do is win. Same thing with jockeys. Those guys are literally, they want to win every race. And so once you put the personal touch to them, like you mentioned, Jonathan, how can you bitch at a jockey? I mean, it seems silly. Now I'll get mad and say, why did he go to the rail? Or, but they're trying their best. And once you get to know them personally, like, what are you going to do? I mean, they're trying.
It's funny, a funny comparison too, and this is one of the main reasons where I've gotten where I don't do it as much, or I'll do it kind of privately or quietly. I don't do it like publicly ever. But let's think about 2 very big races for you two, which is the Ashland, the Grade 1 Ashland, where Pastor Champagne lost to Malathot, and then Crimson Advocate in the Queen Mary. I don't know what happened. I don't fully know what happened. I know we have all talked about it in circles, and maybe we can come up to the conclusion that maybe Javier moved a little bit early on Pastor Champagne and she got caught by Malathot. Maybe not. Maybe Malathot was just better and always going to win. Who knows? But let's just say, for the sake of this conversation, maybe he moved a little bit early. Well, he moved a little bit early and got beat. Johnny said he moved a little bit early and won. So you can't be mad at Javier moving a little bit early but then be happy that Johnny moved a little bit early. You have to, if you're going to reward someone for being aggressive, you can't be mad at someone for being aggressive.
Yeah, look, I've watched that Pass the Champagne race 1,000 times, and Javier made the winning move. He opened up on the field, and now we know that she only has a short little kick, right? And it's very fast, but you have to know when to use it. That was only her third race. So we didn't know. George didn't know. And Javier rode that race perfect. He moved, I think, right on time. It's easy to go back now. And we did get run down by the champion. But you're right. He moved early. We got caught. Johnny says he moved early. We won. So you're right. You can't sit there and say, what if this, what if that? I mean, at the end of the day, it balances. It should balance itself out.
And Pass the Champagne made up for it in the Grade 2 Ruffian at Belmont. That Derby day, and no one was watching. And no one was in the winner's circle. Should have gone to Belmont, not Churchill that day. Damn.
Guys, I love you both. I'm so happy for you. It's when I didn't bet. So when she won, it was pure joy for you guys. And there's been a few times that you guys have been involved in horses that won that have made me cry. I cried in Las Vegas when Up in Smoke won. And I was crying on Wednesday morning just because I know how hard you work, Jake, how hard Maddie works. I know I've been there for the downs, so the ups feel that much better. And Reagan, I know your passion and your involvement, and there's nothing like calling you after a race and hearing you screaming on the phone. And I was so happy for you guys, and it's much deserved success, and hopefully we'll have some more this summer. I can't wait to see you guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us, and thanks for everything you do for horse racing. You're a great communicator. You're wonderful on TV, and your podcast, I think, is really hitting its stride. You have great episodes. Hopefully we don't ruin it with this one, but thank you for the platform, and thank you for your friendship. Jake, thank you for everything as well.
Thank you guys, Jonathan. Reagan, I'll talk to you guys later.
I'll see you guys in a little while. Never gets old. Hanging out with buddies. It's always one that I've wanted to do. Just a couple of extra, 2 people. Maybe this summer, if we can get them back up here, we'll do a video version. We'll do one of those kind of after dark JK+1s with a couple adult beverages. Like George Weaver. He was smart enough to call Reagan at the perfect time to buy in to Crimson Advocate. Look, I'm so agitated because when I got on the plane to go to Italy for my wedding, the plan was that Jovanina and I were going to go to Royal Ascot, because I had been saying, like, if I'm going to go, I want to go when I have friends with horses. I don't want to just go and just kind of aimlessly walk around for 2 days. And I want to go when I have a friend who has a horse. And so we had planned to go, but with a 2-week trip with Italy and London and the wedding and all, it just, I couldn't. We looked at each other when we got home and said, maybe we'll go next year. And dang, did I make a mistake. Not only did I have friends running, I had friends winning. So I'm sure for the next 20 years, I'm going to try to go to Royal Ascot 4 or 5 times with friends with horses, and none of them are going to ever win. And then I'm going to have to look back at this moment that I missed it. But it sounds like Jake's targeting it now. So with a target on it, maybe Jake and Reagan will provide this opportunity for me next year, and they scouted everything out, so it'll be even better. I want to thank everyone for listening. I want to thank our friends at Qatar Racing for their support. Looking forward to seeing what they do this summer up at Saratoga. I'm sure they're going to be banging on lots of doors, and that obviously should be fun. Ever so mischievous. Unlucky second, I think, last time. Fast figure, came back and basically matched that figure. I would assume we'll see that horse at Saratoga this summer. One big performance away, I think, from being a horse considered for a race like the Alan Jerkins, or who knows, maybe a stretch out situation. And we have another horse pointing towards a Travers run. We'll see. Rooting for the maroon and gold. Want to thank PTF, want to thank Drew, want to thank everyone at In the Money Media. Most of all, want to thank you all for tuning in, for listening, share, subscribe, retweet, comment, do all those fun things. Make sure you're subscribed to the JK+1 on the Apple subscriptions. You can subscribe to that show specifically, and you can also subscribe to the main feed of In the Money Media. You'll get every episode from everyone on that one feed. You can subscribe to all of the shows individually. We appreciate that support. And we're right around the corner from Saratoga. I thought about it. Next week will be, we have 2 more episodes before there's this episode, 2 more episodes, and then we're right smack dab in the middle. I'm always interested to hear your ideas. Feel free to tweet at me at people you would like to hear on the show. I've got a long list. And every time I start feeling like I'm running out of people, I think about 27 more that I haven't had yet. So we'll have a bunch of fun. And the plan is a show every episode, every week during Saratoga. So there should be a show up every week during Saratoga, and a lot more video ones. If you haven't checked out the Angel Cordero video one, make sure you do that. Thank you all for tuning in. I'll see you next week.
I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, it's 5 and a horse, I'm ready for war, I'm coming for throats, to turn to a ghost, I need to know everything. Now you be surprised at the info you get is by letting them talk, so I'm letting them talk.